Hello. I am so happy to be sitting down right now and talking to you guys because I just saw some stuff online that just like drove me crazy and I need an escape. I wanted to do a little breathwork session. If you'd like to skip this portion of the video, please feel free, go ahead. There's chapters right down there that you can click on and fast forward your way to whatever you want to see. If you do want to stay here for this, please, I welcome you to. I sure need it. I thought because it seems like we're creating a very mindful community here. I did study meditation teacher training, and so I thought I'd incorporate that into some parts of this channel. In my last video, I incorporated a bit of breath work and some visualization when I was at the beach. So I thought I'd do the same thing here before we talk about what we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, I'd like you to get into a really nice seated position, really comfortable, really check in and tune in with yourself. There's a lot that we can see online that's a little bit crazy. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of stories that if we just dive a little too deep into that, especially if you're someone who feels very deeply, it can be a lot. It can make you mad. It can make you upset. And that's totally okay to feel these feelings, confusion, anger, all of those feelings. And so instead of balling them up, we're just gonna release them in a healthy way. In this time, move around, stretch, just like be yourself, you know? You don't need to be stagnant, you don't need to be static still. You can flow, you can move, you can stretch if that feels good. Stretch, roll your neck, maybe go from side to side. Whatever feels good for you today is perfectly fine, perfectly okay, perfectly perfect. And so we're just gonna settle in, taking a few deep breaths. It doesn't matter how you're breathing. You don't have to do anything right now except for breathe in and breathe out. Check into this space. Are you being present? Have you been thinking a lot about the past, the future, where you want to be, where you have been? Are you thinking about what you should have said to that one person that one time? Whatever it is, just let it flow. I always imagine a stream. I've said it so many times, especially when I used to do little meditation segments. You imagine that stream and you become a witness to the stream. You're not in the stream flowing down out of control to the big drop. You're just watching the stream. You're a witness. You're observing nature in its natural state, and you're in your natural state, and these thoughts are the same. They're flowing downstream. You don't have to hold on to them, and if one sticks to you, that's okay. Acknowledge its presence. We don't have to ignore it. We don't have to beat ourselves up for it. That's all right. Hold on to it, have a look at it, see what it is, and then with good intention, set it free. Let it go. Let it go into the hands of something bigger than you. Let it go. Breathe it out. So that's what we're going to do. When you inhale, I want you to raise your shoulders up as high as you can. And then with an exhale, you're going to just breathe out through your mouth. Just, you can even make an audible sound. Just let it go. I feel like we all need this in this day and age because living's weird. Okay, living's weird. That's all I got to say. Okay, ready? Drop it, let it go. Give it a shake if you need to. Blow it out. Right, let's do that 2 more times. One more before we change it up a little. How do you feel? A little better? Maybe you're the same? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so the last time we're going to do this, last 3 times, that was 6. Last 3 times we're going to do this is we're going to, on the exhale, we started off by doing a bit of a huff. The next time we do it, we're going to do a hum. Whatever note comes out is fine. If it cracks, fine. No one else is here. We listen and we don't judge, okay? So it sounds something like this. let it phase out. Really simple, a couple of times, don't push, just let it go. Let it go, let it flow. Amazing. And that's how we're gonna start this video today. I feel very zenned out and chill now, which is great because before, I don't even want to talk about it. I have something that I really have been excited to share with you, and I hinted at this in my last, I think it was my last video where I was talking about this and how I'd make a video on it. So this is that video. If you haven't seen that video, it's my latest video. You can go check it out right up here. This is the first one that's going to be released. I have another one that's in the workings that I'm also very excited about, but this is my first physical release. The Museum of Scars. It's a multimedia piece, so it incorporates poetry and photography and some scribbles, and it's very drafty, and it's supposed to take you behind the scenes, deconstructing raw poems, the rawest of late that have been, you know, thoughts circulating in my brain, basically poured onto the page and put together with some imagery and just my own inner workings, mistakes and all, just all laid out. My favorite thing is seeing skeletons of ideas and things like that. So I love seeing raw sheets of lyrics. I always write my lyrics where I can on sheets of paper rather than digitally, because I want to go back one day and sift through all of the papers with writing that's half legible, half not, and all these ideas and crossed out words. I think it's beautiful to see what's behind the creative process. I think the creative process is even more beautiful at times than the finished product, because you get to see the landscape that the mind paints and all of the work and love that gets poured into things. So I love the draftiness. I love the things that are crossed out. I love being able to see where something has come from. So with that in mind, I really put that into this. And I think it's fitting because it's Museum of Scars. There's things that have been crossed out, there's scribbles, there's marks. It's not perfect. And I think that's in turn what makes it feel really good and completed to me. The look of incompletion is what makes it so complete. So this here is going to be available on my website. I'll have the link in the description. It's available totally for free in digital version. So if you would like to, you can pull it up right now and read along with me, because we'll be going through it today. I thought it'd be fun to narrate all the poems, speak them to you, maybe talk about my thought process behind, while also leaving it fully up for interpretation for you, because whatever you feel when you read the poem is exactly right. That's exactly what it's supposed to be, because these are for you. But I'd like to go back and talk about my own process and what these things mean to me, because they are based off December and January, which were very pivotal parts of my life, parts of this year and last year that pieced together and created the me that is sitting before you now, or is a vital piece of that puzzle. I was at home visiting family and friends, and that was a really great time to drop in and ask myself some serious questions and reevaluate the things that I wanted to have in my life and the things that I wanted to not have in my life anymore, in terms of habits and things that I thought could improve, you know? So it was a whole deep dive that I did. The poems in this are very special to me and honest, and a raw side of what I was going through. So I also have a physical copy that is up for sale as well. If you do feel like you want to purchase the physical copy and have it in your hands, that would be awesome. No obligation to do that. I want it to be totally accessible to everybody. But if you do want to purchase the physical copy, I'd highly appreciate it. That'd be amazing. It'd be so cool. And if you do, please send me photos. Please let me know what you think. If you read it online, follow the digital copy. Please let me know your thoughts and send me photos and whatever. You know, I just want to connect in that way. I think it'd be really cool to see this stuff in other people's hands and through other people's eyes. On the back cover, I've written, "It's just another artifact for the museum. There is a divine balance in all things. Darker days are just as inevitable as the lighter ones, but no less valuable. Museum of Scars is a poetry collection that invites you, the reader, to sit in the shadows for a mindful moment. You, me, and the endless stream of thoughts. all part of this unfathomable human experience. Bluebird. That's the name of the first poem. The bluebird roosts upon the hatchings of sorrows that have overstayed their welcome, tucked into the unguarded chest cavity, picking the last of the broken pieces to weave warmth into a nest. The wings of hope fan around weak ribs to puff confidence into the lungs. Though sorrows may land like wings tired of flapping, they must eventually take flight again, beckoning a time of joy to take its place. You're not the home of all sorrow, nor the house of all joy. You're the ebb and flow reflected in all walks of life. You're a universal funhouse. And then I've written, emotions are there to be felt, not bind us. Feel, then practice becoming a witness. You may gain deeper insight that will assist you in transitioning into the next phase of your life. There's always an after. So Bluebird to me is a symbol of hope. There are times where we kind of tumble into darkness, and those dark spots can feel particularly impossible to dig our way out of, like we've fallen into a well that is so deep that we couldn't even climb up the sides if we tried. In those times, it really helps. The one saying that helps me is, "This too shall pass." And it really is true. There is always an after. There is an ebb and flow naturally in the world. There is a natural balance and a natural order of things that always seems to level out over time. And at times you're going to be so low and feeling so depleted. And it's about leaning into that season of your life, not pushing yourself, not being horrible to yourself, not torturing yourself. It's about accepting where you are in that moment, accepting, okay, my body's telling me I'm exhausted. My spirit is telling me I'm exhausted. I need to lean into this where I can, where possible. And sometimes it's really hard when we have all these responsibilities in life. We have so much on our plates. It's about creating that time and that balance for yourself. Because a lot of the times we'll say we don't have the time, yet we'll scroll on our phones for 4 hours looking at content, doom scrolling, loading our brains with stuff we just don't need, stuff that makes us feel worse. So it's about finding that divine balance and getting rid of the things in your life that aren't so beneficial to you, and maybe getting rid of them altogether until you feel you can take those things on again in a balanced way. So Bluebird is kind of the message of this too shall pass. You might be feeling horrible now, but it's going to be okay. You're going to find your way out of it. All is going to be well in the end. And it's all an ebb and flow. Even the good times, they're not here to stay all the time. They're not here to last forever. And that's why we need to cherish every moment. And in our darkest times, that's where we find the growth. We muster up the strength and the courage and the wisdom to move forward. We don't get the opportunity as much of that richness in the times where we feel like we can just float above the water. So in the times you feel as though you're drowning a little bit, there's a current, you're stuck in a rip, you're being tumbled by waves, those are the moments where you can seek the knowledge that you need to move to the next level. Things are working for you, not against you. And life isn't happening to you, it's just happening. Life is life. Time moves on, time doesn't stop, things flow, things keep flowing. Even when you feel stuck, life is still continuing to move around you, which means circumstances will continue to change and evolve. So flow. Let yourself flow with the current. Next. Next one's called Highways. Restlessness in the wake of uncertainty. Sentiments are as empty as the cracks between the canyons, dark and deep. Too narrow to slip through, nonetheless, I feel myself sinking headfirst into oncoming traffic, headlights illuminating my doe eyes as the fear freezes my joints. I fear no one will see me in time or bother to stop even if they do. I fear I'll be left behind on the road as familiar traffic drives on for miles. I stand on my asphalt faith, begging it to move me, for I'm without direction. Sorrow has distorted my complexion. We must all walk the highway at some point, praying not to be struck, or simply left behind. This one's a darker one for sure. It's about that feeling of where you know you're going into that place where you feel, okay, the storm's coming. I know that something's going to happen and things are going to change and my life is going to be uprooted and messy and uncertain. It's mainly about that uncertainty and how that can feel. It can really feel like you're being dropped from the sky into oncoming traffic. And the oncoming traffic is everyone you know continuing on with their lives, even though you're in this state of turmoil and upheaval in your life. And it can feel like they're moving on with their lives and they don't even see you at all. Guys, I'm dangling in the middle of the road. Please, someone pick me up and take me with you. But you essentially can't. You have to be there, weather the storm, try not to get hit by oncoming traffic, and just know that you're moving at your own pace. There's going to be a car that comes to get you and it's going to move at its own pace. And that pace is, at times it's really not determined by you. You can only do as much as you can and let go. Stop trying to be a backseat driver. You just have to sometimes, let it flow. This is the whole motto of this book is let it flow. That's how I have been feeling in my own life of things, the doom feeling of things being upheaved, and you know that things are coming and it's going to be messy and crazy and unknown. And you just have to kind of, brace yourself, buckle up, and Okay, so the next one is the homes we keep / the homes we leave. No. We mustn't hook into the soil, clutching firmly at the roots of dead trees upon land that's destined to be cyclically bulldozed. Not to say we needn't plant fertile seedlings. In fact, to escape the strangulation of stagnancy, we must. On the condition that we do so with a wandering heart, as a soul that understands that life must flow freely. Our truest homes are the ones we fashion in moments we've lost our ability to navigate. Acceptance of this will keep your hands reaching above and your feet planted below. This one is a complete runoff from the last. It's where things might be happening around you and everything's changing, and instead of clutching onto old soil with nothing growing from it, we're not seeing the rich soil right in front of us. It's right across the road. We just have to walk across the road. And there's a rich soil where we can grow and flourish, and there's already things growing and it's beautiful. But instead we're clutching onto this old dead soil for what? Out of fear of crossing the road into something new because we don't know what's over there. We can't really see that stuff yet. We don't know how rich the soil is over there because maybe nothing's grown there and it's just more soil on the other side. So it's like, what's to say that that soil isn't this soil? And I'm just walking over the road, risking my life into oncoming traffic to walk over this freeway to go to soil that might be exactly the same as what's right here. It's about knowing when to take these risks, knowing when something's calling you to take these risks, and not being so attached to things and outcomes and ideas. All right, moving on. This one is called Strawberries and Cream. Indeed. Sweetness can turn sour when left in the wrong environment. Rotten strawberries and sour cream, good girls gone bad, warped ideas of what a good girl even is. The duality in being a kiss of both. The last to leave and the first to arrive, the longingness for something sweet in the absence of something savory, and for something savory in the absence of something sweet. Never fully satisfied. The grass is always greener. Sun shines brighter on the other side of the world. Yeah, it's kind of about the fact that we as humans tend to never be fully satisfied. We look over at greener pastures, and then when we get there, the next pasture looks greener. And so it helps to be a mix of sweetness when you're called to be, and a little bit more it's like that divine balance between being in your vanity and being instrumental. And also in the times where we are called to softness and when we're called to be a little more assertive in times where it helps to be a little more abrupt. It helps to be fully logical. And in other times it helps to come from a more compassionate place or a more empathetic place. So it's about finding that balance and also understanding that sometimes there are things that we seek that we genuinely want for ourselves and things that we genuinely feel would fulfill our soul. But when you are doing that from an empty place, sometimes it's just looking at that greener pasture. And then when you get there, it's kind of like, well, now I want that. And then you're just spending your life chasing constantly and never really landing into the present moment to be thankful for what is currently. So I think when you have gratitude for the here and the now, it allows you to differentiate what's just smoke and mirrors and what's an actual heart's desire, if that makes sense. Finish this off by just saying, my love, you are divine. Keep going, you'll be just fine. And that's it. A few short poems, nothing too crazy. I kept it short because those were the defining poems that I wrote in that phase of my life. I didn't want to expand on it with anything that had come after or artificially. I wanted it to be just the words that I wrote in the thick of what I've been going through. And this is what came of it. And I'm really excited. I hope that these words somehow resonated with you. I know that in this time, a lot of us are going through some unique challenges and maybe a lot of changes in life. I don't know how all that works. Maybe it's cosmic because we all seem to be going through very similar things. But I just hope that you can find a sense of peace in something, whether it be books or dancing or creating or maybe sitting here listening to some poetry, to look at where you are right now and see the beauty in everything, the beauty that's right outside your doorstep, the beauty that's inside your own home. And yeah, I know it can be challenging and difficult, and I know there's a lot of different circumstances that exist in the world, and I can only hope that everyone can feel safe and supported and happy and loved. I hope that that's my wish for everyone, because there's a lot of darkness in this world. There's a lot of people who do terrible things and it's a lot. So that's my hope, and I hope you watching this are, feeling loved and supported and happy. And if you're not right now, I hope sincerely that you do get to feel that, because that's everyone is deserving of that in life. Yeah, I'm so happy that you were here to follow through this with me. I will talk to you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao. Baci.